Good afternoon. My name is Ed Patterson, Ed to my friends, and I thank you for joining me today. This is the third in a series of several videos that will be dealing with the topic of when Joseph Smith decided to run for president. It signed his death warrant. He decided to run in February of 44. He died 5 months later. And there's a direct correlation between them. So I want to talk today about the War of Papers. Now, I'm going to say a name. You tell me if you are familiar with it or heard it before. Thomas C. Sharp. Nope, I don't have any recollection of him in the history of the church. But he was a major player in it, but for the side of the antis. So let me tell you about Thomas, first of all, how he fit in, and how I'm going to develop the idea of these War of Papers. So, Thomas was raised in New England. His father was a preacher, well known. He studied law, but he decided that New England was too developed for him. He wanted to go west and build his own reputation. So he moved to a place called Warsaw, Illinois, 12 miles south of Nauvoo, in 1840. So the Mormons arrived in Commerce. Nauvoo didn't exist yet in 1839. They're going to build Nauvoo up in the swamp. They're going to drain the swamp up the hill, put the temple on top of the hill, and make it a beautiful place. Warsaw was 12 miles south, and Thomas saw his first opportunity to make money. If he could get some lots or some land and develop into lots, he'd get the Mormons to buy it and profit from it. So that was his first endeavor. He got the land. It was south of Warsaw, so 12, 13, 14 miles away from Nauvoo. He called the leaders of the church down and said, look, here I have lots right on the Mississippi River, looking pretty good. I think this would be great. You ought to buy all of these and bring your people down here. Now, for whatever reason, and no one knows just why, the leaders said, no, thank you. I don't know if it was too far away. I don't know if they didn't like the way Thomas looked. I don't know. But they decided not to buy those lots, which destroyed him financially for the moment, because he had the lots already paid for the land anyway. Mormons went back up and started working up in Nauvoo to keep it growing. And I will acknowledge there were many little settlements around Nauvoo, not in the city itself. It's estimated that around 10,000 people lived in Nauvoo, but another 8,000 lived in the surrounding area, so 18,000 or so a lot of people. And that was one of the reasons that caused the political decision to run for president to have a bad ending for Joseph. But I'll get to that later on down the road. So Thomas, thinking, what the heck am I going to do? So, and I don't know in what way, but he got out of the land problem. He had enough money left, or had found some money, worked for money, bought into the local newspaper, and renamed it the Warsaw Signal. It would become the most famous anti-Mormon organ in America. No one else would pump out as much anti-Mormon stuff as the Warsaw Signal. And Thomas Sharp was the owner and editor of it. The funny thing is, not funny, but interesting, when Thomas got to the land of Warsaw, he was 22 years old. He was only 26 when Joseph died. Young guy, but man, he wielded a ton of influence in the anti-world. In fact, he was one of the 5 men who was actually put on trial for Joseph's death a year after he died. Thomas C. Sharp, interesting. Now on the other side of the fence, up in Nauvoo, the folks there were smart enough and knew enough that you got to have a paper to put out your opinions, protection, what's going on. They had 2 newspapers in Nauvoo. I didn't really know that. It was new information to me. One was the Nauvoo Neighbor. The Nauvoo Neighbor was a small local paper for people just there in the area. Again, you got 18,000 Mormons there, that many yet when it started, but that's who they're going to talk about. They talk about what's going on right in Nauvoo, what events are happening, on and on. The second was the Times and Season. Both of these papers were edited and run by John Taylor, who would be the third prophet of the church. John Taylor came from England to Canada, was highly educated, joined the church in Canada, moved down to Nauvoo, and was a great protector of Joseph Smith, was in Carthage jail with Joseph Smith, was the third prophet of the church. So he was a man of means and substance. And he used the Times and Seasons to fight the Warsaw Signal. Well, how did he do that? Both papers, and this is very interesting, both papers would send every publication they had, whether it was weekly or daily or however often, out to about 250 nationwide papers. And as you may know or may not know, the name of anything in this fashion is you have to have content, new, fresh content for people to want to read. Well, the Mormon dilemma out in in Illinois, was very interesting to America, much more than I was aware. And so out the Warsaw Signal would go, out the Times and Seasons would go, and be republished in newspapers around the United States to see this interesting battle going on between the strange Mormons and the Antis. Now, the Antis had a goal. Now, first of all, you have this anti-Mormon paper, first of all. Thomas Sharp then went a step further. He created a political party. The name of the party? The Anti-Mormon Party. They're not cutting any strings. This is what we believe. The Mormons are heck, and we're going to get rid of them. They had 3 espoused goals in this political party in America. Number 1, we're going to kill Joseph Smith. Cut off the head of the snake. It will then dissolve. Number 2, we will drive the people of Nauvoo out. Just like Far West. We're going to get the same kind of power that their governor gave in Missouri from our governor, Governor Ford, to push these people out. And then we, the conquerors, will take over this gold, beautiful city of Nauvoo. Now, I'm just going to read a bit of what Nauvoo looked like, because it is quite interesting in terms of what was happening there. I think these are people that came from Missouri with nothing. They had to leave everything back in Missouri. They got to this swampland in Commerce, Illinois, across the Mississippi River. Just had to get them out of Missouri so they don't get killed. And it's bad. I mean, Commerce is full of mosquitoes, disease, vermin, all sorts of weird stuff. But that's where they were. And they would create a gorgeous city, not a town, a city there. So let me just read the description. Nauvoo quickly became a remarkably beautiful city for its place and time. While many of its neighboring communities were built mostly of log cabins, Nauvoo boasted many large brick homes and public buildings, some with Greek facades. That's pretty interesting. The city fathers had begun a public school system, had founded a university, established a public library, and were trying to find means to finding more and funding more. Docks on the river were to be expanded, and there was a plan to dam the river between the city and a nearby island in order to harness the water power from mills and machinery. The dam would also provide additional space for landing of steamboats and other river craft. So Nauvoo wasn't just, 5 or 6 or 7 or 20 or 30 places, log cabins. They had brick. They built to last. They had legitimate roads that were like Salt Lake City. They have grids, north and south, east and west. Very structurally organized, beautiful. And the Antis were going, baby, we're going to get that place. We want it. So there was a battle. John Taylor counter saying whatever the Warsaw Signal would say. And Warsaw Signal was brutal. Man, they attacked Joseph over and over and over and over again. They attacked the charter for Nauvoo over and over again. The people of Nauvoo by name. They didn't hold anything back. They were fallacious sophists. They didn't care. They were going to just run these guys into the ground. And when you read, it is amazing. Now, again, remember, where did I get all this information? So I got this from a book. Very sweet. I'm going to hold it up here for you. So, this says, the murder of the Mormon prophet, the political prelude to the death of Joseph Smith. And you can see this is a fat little book. And if I've told you in the past, you may remember, if I like what's being said, I fold the page over. There's a lot of pages folded over here. Unbelievable stuff. Well, how did this guy, who is this guy? LeGrand Baker. He's a historian. He has a PhD from somewhere back east. Sorry, I don't have it in my head. He wrote different books. This one about the prelude of Joseph's death. And what he did was very unique. It took him 25 years to write this book. And he had a group, a committee to write with him. They looked at every newspaper in America. And once you get past the 80s, 1980s, a lot of papers are now being reproduced in the internet. So it's not so hard to look them up. And they searched for any reference to Mormons. And they found thousands and thousands and thousands of references. People of opinion along the East Coast, in the South, up in New England, certainly around Illinois. And they cataloged them all and then wrote this book. And the determination of Dr. Baker is Joseph's reason he was killed. There are a lot of reasons they wanted to kill him. But the final reason that moved it all to action was when he committed to run for president of the United States. So we have the battle going on between the papers. And they're sent out to the nation. And the nation's titillated. Oh, the crazy Mormons, what's going on with them? Oh, what do the antis say? And all these are articles found in the major newspapers, again, 250 of them around America. I never knew that. So, with that as kind of the foundational start to where we're going to go, the next video is going to be, so Joseph did declare to be president. It was kind of a side thought for me. I knew he had done that. I didn't know why. It didn't make any sense to me because I never knew about it. I didn't study it before. But Dr. Baker puts a lot of light on that. Why did he? Was he serious? Did he think he was going to be elected? Did the people think he was going to be elected? Did he have a plan? Did he have a platform? Did he have advertising? What did he have? You will be stunned by how amazing the Mormons are. When they get their act together, they go. So, next video. I think you will enjoy it. I appreciate you following along. Thanks so much, and I will see you soon.